Alright, so new review today, we're talking about Netflix's He's All That. This film is an interesting one because I am a kid of the 90s, so I of course watched She's All That plenty of times growing up. Personally, I think it's probably one of my favorite teen rom-coms that I've ever seen, so I was intrigued when they announced that Netflix was doing a gender swap remake and it's going to star TikTok star Addison Rae. The basic structure of He's All That's the same as She's All That. We follow Paget, who's a popular influencer, and she sets out on a bet to make an unappealing male classmate named Cameron a hot and popular guy before prom. Going into the film, I definitely had a certain level of expectations as we adapt this material to a modern audience because it has been over 20 years since that first film, and there's a lot of stuff that we can probably do to update the story. However, even though I wasn't a big fan of every single update for the story in He's All That, I do think there actually are some surprisingly fun moments along the way if you're a fan of rom-com. Let's be real here, when you're going into He's All That, you're not really expecting some highbrow cinema here, and I do think it delivers on exactly what you want it to. Is the plot extremely predictable? Absolutely. But in between all the predictable story beats, you want to have some fun, cheesy, romantic moments, and I do think for the most part, even if they are a little bit overly cheesy, it does deliver on the cute, funny moments. Whether it be Addison Rae and Tanner Buchanan's characters going horseback riding, doing karaoke sessions, or this epic dance battle, each of those moments are the cheesy kind of things you come to look forward to when it comes to rom-com, so it does check the box in that department. Of course, the big thing that everyone's going to be talking about when it comes to He's All That is our star, Addison Rae, very famous from doing TikTok. She's also a musician, and now this is her big foray into acting, as she portrays our lead Paget, which, by the way, that's like a really odd name choice. I don't know why they didn't give her just like a normal name. I consider myself positive to fairly neutral when it comes to Addison Rae as a whole, because I don't really follow her on social media or anything, but I of course know who she is, and she seems fine. I do think they set her up with a pretty easy role in this film because she's practically playing an exaggerated version of herself, even down to her character Paget being a TikTok influencer. As far as acting goes, for this being her first time acting, I thought it was fairly serviceable. I do think she brings a fun personality to the character throughout the film, and she does have solid chemistry with Tanner Buchanan whenever they're on screen. Unfortunately, I do think she kind of struggles when it comes to selling the more emotional story beats of the film. In those scenes, you really do see her lack of experience when it comes to acting, and it really drags down her performance as a whole. She's not the greatest when it comes to emoting certain feelings believably or effectively when it calls for it. Tanner Buchanan was the better performance between the two, but he has a lot more acting experience, so that's really not fair to compare. As I said earlier, their chemistry did really help the film through some of its less entertaining portions. Much like Rachel Lee Cook's transformation in She's All That, which I'll get to her in a little bit because she is in the film actually, I really didn't believe Cameron's transformation all that much. I think it may have been even more unbelievable than the She's All That transformation because all they really do is they give him long hair and a beanie and 5 o'clock shadow, and he's supposed to be like ridiculously ugly and repulsive to people, but he really isn't. I did think it was funny the wig that they actually gave Tanner Buchanan for the film. It's not a great looking wig. You can definitely tell it's a wig, and they kind of try to hide it in weird ways because Tanner Buchanan's character basically wears a beanie or a hat non-stop until his transformation scene, so that's like 40 minutes of runtime with him having this bad wig. With this being a remake in modern times, you have to update the social commentary and messages of the film for the modern times, which makes sense to center it around social media commentary. And just modern culture in general, like the shallowness of social media and the warped reality behind Paget losing all her popularity in an incident with her ex-boyfriend, and she's obsessed with getting it all back, and Cameron kind of has to show her how unimportant that stuff really is. But it feels like by the end of the film, we kind of throw out a lot of that commentary when it comes to Paget. Even if she does realize it, it doesn't really seem fully realized by the ending of the film and where we leave off. I also think the film would have benefited a lot more from having better supporting characters because I do like some of them, but some of the other ones just feel very wasted along the way. I do like some of the friend groups that these people have. I do like Nisha, Cameron's best friend. She has a romance actually with one of Paget's friends, and it kind of gets 1 or 2 scenes of screen time, but we don't get to really see it develop. Paget's other best friend, who's played by Madison Pettis, that she makes the bet with, she kind of is just boiled down to just being a mean girl throughout the film. She does things to cause conflict just because the plot says so. Otherwise, her performance really wasn't anything to write home about. I also thought it was absolutely unnecessary to have Kourtney Kardashian be in this film, as she's the head of a brand that Addison Rae is an influencer for. She really didn't add too much to the film. You could have cut her part out entirely. She's not an actress really either. It was kind of just odd and out of place whenever they would cut to them having conversations with each other on the phone, because Kourtney Kardashian and them never share a scene together. Instead, I get to it eventually, and that is Rachel Lee Cook and Matthew Lillard being in the film, but they are not playing the characters from She's All That. They're not playing Lainey and Brock. They're actually playing completely different people, so it's kind of weird that they're in the film. It reminded me a bit of the 2016 Ghostbusters, how Bill Murray and them were in the film, but they weren't playing their iconic roles. You have Rachel Lee Cook portraying Paget's mom, and she does fine in the role, but she's only in like 3 or 4 scenes giving advice to her, and then we don't see her from large stretches of the film. And same with Matthew Lillard. He shows up towards the end of the film. He's the principal of the school. Matthew Lillard's fantastic. I wish he was in more things because I love him so much, and he's just a lovable, fun ball of energy in this film as well. But both of them together, they're in a combined like 3 or 4 scenes. One of them is it together, but they don't speak to each other. So it would have been nice to see them at least be a little bit more involved if you're going to have them in your film. I think your level of enjoyment when it comes to seeing He's All That will be dictated by how you feel going into the film, whether you're a huge fan of She's All That, whether you're a big fan of Addison Rae, or you hate Addison Rae, you're going to hate watch the film, because I have a feeling a lot of people are going to do that with this film, you know, kind of in the same vein that why we have 3 kissing booth films. But I do think that it's fun enough for what it's trying to be. It's not trying to be a masterclass in filmmaking. It delves into the cringy, predictable teen rom-com kind of style, but there is some fun to be had here if you're in the mood for a romantic comedy, because there is a subgenre for this that's very popular, and I think that it's going to be quite popular when people do check it out. Like I said, I think a lot of people are going to hate watch it, but if you do enjoy it, I will look forward to hearing your thoughts down below as well. So now that you've heard my thoughts on He's All That, it's on Netflix right now if you want to check it out, so make sure you share your thoughts down below if you get a chance to check out the film. Did you enjoy it, not enjoy it? Do you still prefer She's All That to this film? And also, what do you think of the acting of Addison Rae? Do you think that she has a future career when it comes to acting roles? Do you think this is just a one and done kind of thing? Or do you want to see other TikTok stars take on these big Netflix projects next? Either way, thank you so much for checking out our reviews, though. I really appreciate it. Make sure to like and subscribe button. Keep doing movie distractions and unboxings and more on the channel. But next time, I'll see you guys later.